Good morning, Facebook friends out there. Gloria in Desire to Inspire has a very special guest today. So, I love to bring on people that are going to help you in different ways in life, right? So, today it's going to be about business. And I know a lot of you are entrepreneurs, and I know that we all have our ups and downs and struggle with business, right? And we're trying to figure out our structure, we're trying to figure out our services, we get overwhelmed, and sometimes we could even get frozen in our tracks thinking, I've tried everything that everybody's told me, it's not working. So what better way to learn than from a specialist, right? So I would like to take a moment to introduce a woman that I have been following actually on Facebook for a few years, and I've learned a lot from her. So I'm going to bring on our guest today, Miss Patty Farmer. Welcome, Patty.
Welcome. I'm so happy here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm great that you have time in your very busy schedule to be with us. Patty is a marketing and media strategist. She's going to tell us a lot more about that. She's an international speaker, a podcast host, a magazine publisher, and an event producer. God, she's a woman after my own heart, okay? She works with small business owners, entrepreneurs, and speakers. So I know some of you out there are looking to get speaking attention out there. And she helps people convert their ideal clients to make a big impact in this world. And that means bigger deposits in your bank account too. Patty believes we all have a message, and her mission is to help you master your marketing, leverage your media, and monetize your business in a way that creates transformation for everybody, for you and your clients. So Patty, that is like a big promise out there. And I want to hear as much as I can because I want to learn too, because I'm in the process of revamping my business and looking at different strategies too. So a lot of people struggle with marketing in our business. And I would love to know first, before we get into all the good stuff, what attracted you to become a marketing and media strategist?
Oh, that's a good question. So I've been in marketing for 20 plus years. And that was clear back when we were doing, direct marketing, when we were doing, all types of marketing. And I owned my marketing company then. That was really before social media came along. And media is really about social media and new media. It's not just social media, right? So it's really important. And I added the media part because it wasn't just enough to just be able to market yourself. You have to be able to leverage the media. You have to be able to master your marketing and leverage the media in order to monetize your business today. So I think it's really, really important to do both of those to really get the success that we really want in the business environment that we're in right now.
So I heard you use the word leverage, and let's talk about that. I want to find out how you define leverage in today's business environment and why we need to do it, because it is a different environment than it was 20 years ago.
It absolutely is. So for me, the definition of leverage is using whatever you can in your business to its maximum advantage. So a lot of times what happens, and we'll just use this show right now as an example, a lot of times when someone gets interviewed, here's what happens. The day of, or the day it goes live, depending upon what type of interview it is, they post it on Facebook. And maybe they'll post it on their other social media too, but that's it. And really, there's so much more they can do, not just to serve the host, which they should be thinking about, right? But also the audience. Every single thing they do, they should be thinking about, how can I leverage it? It's kind of like how we create content, we curate content, and we repurpose content. The same could be said for media. We need to be thinking about, how can we promote it beforehand? I just got booked on this interview, right? And then be talking about that. Then when it's time to do the interview, be talking about the interview. Then be sharing what you're going to be talking about on the interview. And then afterwards, how exciting it's going to be. Wait till you see it live. And then when it is live and you're talking, so it should be done over and over and over again to really leverage everything. And you should leverage it everywhere, not just social media. Are you sending it to your list? Are you putting it in Facebook groups, right? So there's a lot of different ways to leverage. But the thing is, every one thing you do, you should be leveraging it everywhere. So you should be thinking, that's the most important thing, is thinking ahead of time. As soon as you get booked to do anything, a speaking engagement, an interview, a guest blog, writing in a magazine, whatever it is, you should be talking about it before, during, and after, and thinking about how can I leverage this to get more of them and to get more visibility, to gain more influence, and to make a bigger impact, and ultimately to make more money.
Right. And I'm so glad you brought up all those points, because actually those are some key things that you just said that I've been working with some women on a co-authored book, as you know. And that's what I've been telling them. We have to leverage this time before the release. And sometimes people think in business, whatever their business is, we wait to the day of. We wait to the day that we open our business. You know, matter of fact, I had a client that I was working with who was working on opening a brand new business for the first time in her life. And I said, well, do you have like a pre-promotion? Do you have packages for your service that you can offer as a discount to start building your income before you open? And people don't think of these things sometimes, right?
I absolutely agree. And I think it's great that you mentioned the book, because I think the book is really a great thing. Every single book is not just a book. It's 30 to 50,000 words that you can use to leverage. It's more content that you can be using, taking each one of those things and saying, how could you put those into memes to put on social media? How could you make tips out of those? How can you serve other people with that information?
Right.
So there's always a lot of different things to do. For example, one of the greatest things, whether it's speaking, doing a book, doing interviews, which are my 3 favorite, every one of those, when you're doing it, you should be thinking about what is the way you're going to promote it. And here's the number one question I believe should be asked: who else serves my ideal right fit client, but in a different way? Because the reality is those are the people you should be reaching out to as promotional partners. We're all looking for ways to be able to talk about something differently. Let's think about this. So here's really a great visual. You know how every time something happens in the news, say it's a hurricane or something happens, and the journalists are out there and they repeat themselves over and over and over again, and you're thinking to myself, can't they think of anything else to say because they just keep repeating themselves? That's because they don't have anything else to say. They've got all the information. Believe me, they are begging people to give them another hook so they can say something else. I recently had a client when the last hurricanes happened in Florida, and everybody was talking about emergency, right? How to get ready and how to be ready to evacuate at any given time, right? My client was a financial advisor. I pitched journalists and said, you know what? Everybody's worrying about what the emergency is and what they should do if they have to evacuate. But why aren't they thinking about financial emergencies? There's a lot of financial emergencies that happen too. If somebody passes away, if you lose your job. And so when I gave them something else to talk about, we ended up getting my client on all kinds of radio shows. We took her to Capitol Hill, and we were able to leverage something that was happening right now into how she could promote her business. I call that newsjacking. But it is really important to think of ways that you can put and insinuate your business into what's happening in breaking news all the time.
I agree. You know, I'm just checking for a moment. Sometimes, you know, in business, we have glitches, right? We have to be prepared for those too. So I want to make sure the audience is actually seeing this. And for some reason, guess what? It's not coming up live on Facebook. But if you're out there and you actually do see it, because I don't see it on my cell phone, can you guys just drop a comment down below? Because we want to make sure that you're getting all this valuable information. And I do know that it's going to be recorded, but you know, having a live broadcast, as you mentioned, Patty, is so valuable because people can engage right here, right now.
Absolutely. And ask questions.
And ask questions. So I'm going to refresh this screen here while we see what's going on here. And maybe, Patty, we may just have to start this over if you're okay, because it's not showing up and it's never done this before. So here's where technology really challenges our businesses sometimes, huh? Okay, would you be willing to start over?
Oh, of course.
Okay. I'm going to create a new link and send it to you.
Oh, okay. No problem.